Good afternoon. Thank you, Pat, for introducing me. Yes, as Pat mentioned, I am an inbound student thanks to Rotary International, and I come from Poland. And I would love to give you a presentation about my country, my region, my city, and my experience here in Minnesota. Well, first, let me introduce myself a bit more. I'm almost 18. This year I'm 18. I get 18 this year. Well, uh, I'm pretty interested in history. That's my main hobby. Uh, I also really like social studies and politics. I try always to just keep in touch with everything that's happening, especially right now when I'm far from home. I try to just keep in touch with what's happening in my country. I, as every teen, I love computer games and hanging out with my friends and tea. And I also love tea, and tea is my main part of the day. First, then I want to introduce my family. This is my, maybe allow me to go from the left because I'm on the right on the last one, so I'll go from the left. It's my dad, my sister, and my mother. We live in a pretty large city, a bit larger than Duluth, which I will introduce you to later. We live in a block of flats, so living here in Ely in a house with a backyard was a pretty nice, funny thing for me. As I already mentioned, I'm interested in history and social studies, politics. Here you have a little bit of proof. I've also been, as you can probably see, in a military class for 3 years. That's as a part of a special government program in my high school. And if somebody wonders, on the right side, you can see my picture from like 3 years ago, right in front of the European Union's Parliament in Brussels, Belgium. I'll speak a bit more about my travels a bit further. So, and it will all be on the maps. Well, I had to add another S to that slide because first, this part of my presentation was about my school, but because I'm here, I gotta talk about schools. So this is my, well, let's say sponsoring school. So my home school, it's the second high school in my city. It's really nice school. As you can see on the top right corner, its building is a 100-old German hospital, in, and with that new part, of course. And as you can see on the lower side of the slide, our colors are yellow and black because of the radioactivity symbol. Somebody might ask, what does it have to do with school and education? Well, maybe not entirely with school, but with science, because our patron is Mary Curie Skłodowska, a Polish scientist who discovered two radioactive elements. So that's where the radioactivity sign is from. Now going to my second school, Ely High School. Well, I didn't really make too many pictures inside because I think that like everyone knows how it looks. But I had to make that picture outside because I just like the scenery. And that one in the left corner, it's a love nachos because I just love nachos. Well, I've been attending this school since the beginning of this school year, and I have to say that it's a wonderful place. I met a lot of new friends here. Did a lot of stuff I never really expected to do in school, like welding, because I didn't really have a welding or a metal shop or a wood shop in my school in Poland. So that was a lot of fun. Well, I've also been on the basketball team. I think that if somebody is interested in basketball, has probably already heard that. Well, I mean, of course, the local basketball, let's say. Uh, Maybe I'm not the best player, but I'm doing my best, and I think that's what matters. Just pushing a bit the boundaries of things that I was scared or didn't want or too lazy to do before. Well, and I think that the exchange is the best time to do that. Now going a bit back from Italy to a bit bigger city of Gorzów Wielkopolski, I asked dozens of people, actually dozens of people here to pronounce this, and no one was able to. So maybe somebody wants to take the challenge. No. Well, it's a city a bit bigger than Duluth, uh, inhabited by around 110,000 people, if I'm correct now. It changes so rapidly that I honestly lost the track 2 years ago, at like 110,000. And it's a very nice place, a very nice city. What I like about it is that everything is close. We have everything in there, everything that we need, and everything is close to everything's close to everything. Uh, as you can see, there's a river going through my city. It's called Warta, which in Polish means the guard, like and as you can here you have a picture of like probably the most characteristic side of our city. So the old town with the 13th century cathedral. Here the boulevards and the river. And on the map here you can see that I'm living in the Western Poland. I was already asked about that by one of our members here, that if I live close to Warsaw, so I think that, oh, maybe not yet. Well, here I have a few slides about some of the attractions in the city. So this is I think it's not the largest, but like the most crowded park in my city, the Park of the Roses, a beautiful place for afternoon with your friends or anybody else who you want. And this pond is actually probably frozen right now, which well, let me tell you something. In Poland, we don't have temperatures like that, even though my city is 5 degrees north from Ely. Well, we don't have temperatures like that, and when this pond actually got frozen this year, and that was a great shock for everyone in the city. And yeah, if you look outside, you'll see the lake, which is frozen, and I bet that this pond is like 100 times smaller. So imagine how hot it must be in the winter, that we got really shocked when this pond got completely frozen. This is the cathedral that I already mentioned. It was built really a lot of years ago in the 13th century, if I'm correct. Uh, well, it is. I think it's the highest building in the city. Is in this right in the center of the city. And you can't really see it in the pictures, but I can just tell you that it's right next to the main square, which is the cultural center of the city. Very crowded place, lots of events going on there, mostly concerts, some fun stuff for children and adults, for everyone basically. You can see a scene if you just look really close. You can see a green scene in there. That was probably for one of the concerts that took place in there. And the boulevards that I already also showed you on the previous picture of the whole city. This is probably one of the most popular places for just evening sitting. When you want to sit somewhere in the evening and it's warm and it's not winter, it's like a nice summer evening, you just go there and sit in there. There are also some concerts, some parties. There's always something happening there. If you go there Saturday morning, I bet for, I don't know, $100 that there is some concert, some activity, some event going on there. That's a very busy place. And well, I decided to include that in my presentation because I think that's a pretty unique thing for our city, the Speedway. our city's main sport. We raised a lot of great racers, including world masters in that club on that stadium. There you can just see the logo of our club, which names is Stal Gorzów, which is the steel. And honestly, I just included that also because I just like watching this sport. I think that that's my second favorite sport because right now the first one is the basketball. And going a bit to a bit wider perspective, that's my region, Lubuskie. It's called Lubuskie, and I named it a region because I can't really say that it's a state. Poland works much differently than United States, and each each division doesn't really have so much of a autonomy, so much of like self-governing. Poland is a unitary republic, so the system is completely different. But anyway, I think that it's I'm sure that it's not as strong as in the United States, where, well, many people are, there are people that are more attached to the state than to the states. Uh, but still, many people see themselves as the people of the region, as they're really active not only for the whole country, for the city, for their small places, but also for the whole region. And I wanted to list a few nice places, very beautiful places, including the national park, Ujście Warty, which is, well, it's based on the place where the city Warta, flowing through my town, reaches and connects with the other bigger river called Odra, which is the border with which on huge piece of our border with Germany, well, divides us by water, gives us the water border, but also it's a place very unique because it's huge swamps, and all the places around are home for thousands of birds, including a lot of those from endangered species. I also decided to just put that in because I know how people, especially in Ely and all the places around, are close to nature. Most of them, most of us, I allow myself to call myself a guy from Ely too. Most of us, we just walk out of the house and see the forest, and I decided to include that because it's a place very close to nature, and people. I've been there a lot of times, and this is a place. When I just go into the forest here around Ely, I really get reminded of that place. It's a place of nature, place of wilderness, of complete wilderness, uninfluenced by human, which is, as you of course know, like a lots of places around here. Next, going even wider, that's my whole country, Poland. It's our flag, our coat of arms. And this is Poland on the map of Europe. And there, it's a small country compared to the US, smaller than the state of Texas, way smaller. I think it's a bit bigger than the state of Minnesota. I like comparing it to Texas because I saw the map when you can just fit Poland in Texas and you still can drive around it, not going out of Texas. So that portrays a bit how small, how well small compared to the US Poland is. Mm, but even if it's not as big, it's a beautiful country with beautiful history and culture, which I will talk just a bit more later. And this is our capital. So just for a little remembering, I live here. So it's a 5-hour drive, like from here to Minneapolis. So yeah, as you can see, in 5 hours you can drive almost to the other side of the country, not to the other side of the state, which was like a big shock for me when I first got here. That what do you mean 5 hours until we get home? We live in the same state like this city when I landed in Minneapolis, of course, and my family is like Yeah, we drive 5 hours and we're still in the same state. And I was like, whoa. Uh, Warsaw is a unique city, called often a city of a phoenix or phoenix of the cities, often Paris of the north. But it's unique because it was almost completely destroyed in the Second World War. 85% of the buildings were complete ruin. Uh, Latest statistics say that it was around that it was, I think, 30 million cubic tons of rubble. So that's an unimaginable number. And yet, right now, nowadays, this city is a shining diamond of Poland. It's a huge, rapidly developing place with such a beautiful places as reconstructed in 1970s Royal Palace, which you can see on the top right, Palace of Culture and Science, built. Some people say that it was a gift. Some people say that it's a sign of occupation because we were given it by Soviets. They built it. And for places like Palace in Wilanów, it was earlier in the times where Poland was a kingdom, it was a place outside of the city. Right now, it's the part of it. It's the old residence of Polish kings, built by one of the greatest ones of them, Jan uh, Jan III, which is John III, the savior of Vienna. If somebody is interested in history, he'll know the savior of Vienna. And yeah, Warsaw. I've been to Warsaw when I was forced to get a visa to the US, when I had to just go to the embassy and have a meeting in there. And I keep what I was saying when I was there 5 years ago, when I was just starting to get interested in history. This place is the living example that even after the worst strategies, a place, a country, a city, people can just rebuild. And that's very motivating for all of Polish generations that lived after Second World War. That was their motivation. For me, that's a bit of motivation because I just love history. I am interested in history. I like to mention, well, some historical facts. That's why I'm just talking so much about this city. So let me just already go to another one. Uh, this is Kraków. In English, it's often called Krakow. It's in southern Poland. As you can see on the map, it's the old capital of Poland. It was the capital of Poland until late 1500s. And because of that, it was the residence of Polish kings. And their main residence, you can see here, that's the castle of Wawel on the hill of that name, Wawel. And it's a beautiful place, beautiful example of very, very old architecture, including the beautiful cathedral that is there. And there's also another very, very well-known church in Krakow, which you can see in top right corner. That's the Church of Saint Mary with the huge, fun fact, that's the largest medieval square in Europe. It's in Krakow. And Sukiennice, which is the place where the cloth was sold in the medieval times. It keeps its name. There's still a lot of markets, restaurants there. So it pretty much stayed the commercial place. And Zamek Książ. This is the castle of built in also in 1200, just like the cathedral in my city. Of course, it looked way different back then, but it's a castle in the Silesia region, right here. And I put that slide in because that's a most beautiful place in Poland, in my personal opinion. When looking around, it's like the second place that reminds me a lot that I get reminded a lot of while looking here in Ely and around, because when looking from this castle around, you see just forests for miles, nothing else, and probably that's one of the places where, well, you don't see that a lot in Poland when you just go to some higher place and just see forests. Here, of course, in the US and around Ely, you can see that everywhere. There's a lot of forests around here. And it's not, it's a lot of forests in Poland too. It's the one of the most forested countries in Europe, but still it's not that much and they're not so big. Uh, just a little fun fact about that castle. It was almost completely demolished from inside by Nazis in the World War II because they planned to make it a Hitler's quarter. So, and because of that, underground there's a lot of tunnels that are available to see for tourists, which were planned to be a German headquarters for. Uh, Fortunately, the war ended faster than it was completed. And another example of natural beauty. There's a lot more of them, but I chose, I think that's the last one. Yeah, that's the last one. Uh, that's the last one because like how long I can be yapping about nature. Oh my God. But this is the land of lakes. So I was actually making the presentation before I was told that I'm going to Minnesota, but now I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh wow, I choose the place so well, like land of lakes. It's called Mazury. It's in northwestern Poland, as you can see on the map, and it's also called the land of thousand lakes. So, well, you can see like the connection. Well, now I talked a bit about Polish culture, and now I wanted to talk just a bit more about it, just about like most important elements, which is the language. Polish language is considered one of the hardest languages in the world. Uh, Unlike most of Slavic languages that it belongs to, it uses a Latin alphabet instead of the Cyrillic alphabet. And of course, it was changing a lot through the history. Maybe not that much like English, because like you're reading the Shakespeare or even older authors, you just barely can understand a thing. Well, maybe I just see that because I'm Polish and I speak Polish and I'm not a native English speaker. But then going to religion. Religion was a huge part of Polish history, of Polish culture, of Polish national consciousness for centuries. Even though, even though, as in all countries of Western world nowadays, the religiousness is a bit dropping. In some places even dropping a lot. Religion has its undeniable role in Polish history, in Polish culture. It was for centuries. It was like a weld between Polish people of different political beliefs of different maybe from different regions. Religion was always like a huge, strong weld for all of Poles that motivated them for common fight for when Poland was under occupations. This was what motivated them for the fight. Then literature. I placed a picture of in my opinion, the greatest Polish writer, Adam Mickiewicz. He he wrote when Poland wasn't on the map. He was writing his national wide, known by probably everyone in Poland. His books were written where Poland was not on the map in the 1800s. So just as well as those two men right next to him, which is the Jan Matejko, the most famous Polish painter, and Fryderyk Chopin, the most famous Polish pianist and composer. Maybe I should have included Ignacy Jan Paderewski. I think that he's probably a bit more well known in the United States, the Polish composer from times when Poland was regaining its independence. But their art was a source of hope for Polish people, a source of hope, a source of remembrance about the common history. You can see in the bottom right corner one of the I think Matejko's pictures. I'm not an expert in art, and I forgot already if it's if that painting was made by Matejko or a different author, but art like this was played a huge role in Polish history too. Then we have talking about history, like Poland has a very tragic history. I mentioned Warsaw already. I already mentioned those occupations for at least few times. So Polish history is very, very painful. If we had a war with somebody, it was mostly taking place in our territory, which is of course never good for anyone. But because of that, Poland is sometimes called the Phoenix of Nations, because it was raising from the dead. I wouldn't like to say that way, but it was raising from the hardest situations, always coming back, always fighting more, fighting once again and again and again. A few days ago, I think maybe 2, 3 days ago, we actually had another anniversary of the largest Polish national uprising. Not only Polish, Lithuanians also were fighting for their independence too. This is of course the January uprising. Well, finishing the topic of history, which is as I mentioned already, my personal hobby. It's really great to know it. It's really great to know it, and not only Polish history, just history of just history as it is, as overally. Well, it's great to know it. Oh, it's always great to know it. There's also one more place that I didn't mention here. Uh, it's of course the Auschwitz-Birkenau Museum, the German death and concentration camp, which also anniversary. I think it's either today or it was yesterday, the anniversary of its liberation. And there's a huge quote in there written for every guest coming in that if we don't know history, we are doomed to repeat it. So, well, as a person, well, that we can call an amateur historian, that's my leading thought. And going to a bit softer topics, because we got a bit too serious here. Sorry for that. Well, I want to talk a bit about Polish food, because that's probably, of course, after my family, the second thing I miss the most. Uh, well, Polish food is really, really unique, combining a whole lot of different tastes, different ways to prepare different meals. A few of them I wrote here. I guess that if I say that name, everybody will know. But of course, pierogi. Yeah, pretty common here too. I had actually had them for Christmas. Nothing could make me feel more like home than this. And there's a bigos, which is the hunter stew. I'll mention. I won't be describing the other guys here, but I'll describe bigos because that's. I think I met a lot of people, and it was 50-50. Haters, lovers. I think that's a pretty unique thing for every food because bigos is actually a boiled sauerkraut with sausage and a few different kinds of meat. And all of it's boiled together. So when somebody's making it, everybody living, if you live around person who's making the bigos, you will know that this person is making the bigos because you'll just smell it. Probably that's why so many people are hating it. And well, now going on to the part that I added recently, so the first half of my exchange, because I've been here since the very late August, and I did a lot here. Here you can see a few pictures from the very few first days of my stay in the US. My family actually, the very first day after my flight, my family took me to the Minnesota State Fair. So they threw me at the deep water from the very beginning. There was a lot to eat in there. of course, I met the challenge. Like, and school. Well, I already talked about Ely High School, but talking a bit more exchange-wise about it, I met a lot of wonderful people in there. This is my picture of a few of my friends, and the school bus. The school bus is like something I was the most excited about. It's like we don't really have that in Poland because most people are either driving with their parents or using the public transportation. So the school bus, that yellow bus driving to my family's driveway, like, and stopping for me and me going in was like, whoa. So yeah, that was a huge thing. Well, now a bit of about Rotary and the whole aspect of it connected to the exchange. As you can see, I have a Rotary jacket on myself right now. It's the characteristic part of every exchange student coming for an exchange with Rotary. I collected a few pins from my friends. I bought some in the Louvre when I was there. Well, as you can see, even from my Taiwanese friend, who he's right here in the middle. Uh, so yeah, well, talking about this, I'll be mentioning also a bit later, but I will say a few words about it now because as you can see, that's a really nice international group. We have a girl from Brazil, Belgium, a guy from Thailand, Taiwan, Poland. That's like all the world. So, I'll just hold it. On the exchange, you meet a lot of people, a lot of wonderful people, from which one you have on the bottom picture here. That's Susan, who was already mentioned by Pat. She is our Ely Rotary student exchange coordinator. Well, activities. Talking about activities, I have to break a bit that people meeting thing here and talk a bit about activities. Well, I've been doing a lot of stuff. It's been over half of the year right now since I got here. Well, I've been doing a lot of stuff. Of course, when it was a bit warmer, I was trying to see as much as possible around here. Well, now we have the winter, but I'm still just trying to travel a bit because, as my dad says, the weather is not a obstacle; it's just a way to get out of doing something. Uh, Well, so I've been I've been traveling around Ely, seeing a lot of stuff. I joined the Ely High School band. Oh, you have a pointer here. I joined the Ely High School band. That's me in the uniform. I wore it once for our marching band, so I had to make the picture. And the latest thing, I joined the basketball team. I've been doing really nice. I have a practice day too. But basketball and generally like team sports was something that I was never really into, mostly because of my friends in primary school, which, well, talking softly, made me really not like any team sports. But right now I gave it a try, and I love this. And why you should give an exchange a try, or encourage people to give it a try, or talk to anybody how great this experience is. Well, I mentioned that already. You will meet a lot of people, wonderful people. That's a huge thing to mention. This one should be bigger actually. Wonderful people. Uh, that picture is repeated. You've seen it already. This is my host family. Uh, Actually, this picture was made on Christmas. So yeah, like, it's hard. Sometimes it's even hard to say thank you for me because I feel like that's not enough. Saying thank you feels like not enough for what are people doing for me here. And nature is beautiful, everything around is beautiful, but without people, this exchange wouldn't be an exchange, wouldn't be a thing. So, and that's wonderful people like Patrick too, like my host family, like my friends that are making this experience wonderful. trying new stuff, and I should probably write there too, breaking your limits. That picture, I'll start with that. That's breaking your limits because I'm scared of heights, and yet I tried a climbing wall, which was a very, very tall one. Uh, New stuff, yeah, corn dog or on the Minnesota State Fair. We don't have corn dogs in Poland, so that was a huge thing for me. Uh, Thanksgiving, yeah, we also don't have Thanksgiving in Poland. That's another thing. I only heard about Thanksgiving in the movies. We just don't celebrate that in Poland. So eating a huge turkey on Thanksgiving, like in the end of November, was a such a nice thing. That turkey was so good. Honestly, it could have been the worst turkey ever. It was the best turkey ever. For me, it was the best turkey ever, and I will remember that turkey until the end of my life and longer. Also, skiing and winter stuff, because we don't have such winters in Poland. Well, temperature in Poland is not as low. We don't have as much snow. We barely have any snow. This year they got actually some because they were lucky. Uh, Trying winter sports and generally winter stuff was a bit of a new, huge thing for me. So, of course, I had to go skiing or dog sledding. I think I have the picture later too. And baking. I usually don't bake. I usually just make myself some nice for dinner if I have to. But I missed a few things from home that made me start doing something new. Here's the gingerbread I made for Christmas. That was really good, by the way. Yeah, getting out of your what happened to this one? Getting out of your comfort zone, quite literally. I actually measured yesterday a distance. Let me just turn that on from here in Italy and my house, and you can see it here on this really, really short video. And you can see the distance here. That's over 400 to 4,200 miles. So yeah, that's the furthest I'm from home. I was ever from home. So that's why I got this quite literally here, because like literally getting out of your zone of comfort, your home, and of course finding a new one. Here, yeah, experiencing completely different culture and lifestyle. That's a very cold lifestyle, and we can see it even right now out there. That was the picture when I was duck sledding and it suddenly started snowing in the middle. Uh, yeah, turkey had on the Thanksgiving. I already talked about that. So the exchange is also a part of like cultural exchange. So that's a huge part of it. But not only the language that I'm speaking English 24/7 right now, not Polish, but also culture. Experiencing different celebrations, different ways of celebrating, different customs, different habits is a thing that stays in the memory for a long, long years. Yeah, language. I already mentioned that. I was learning English when I was really, really young, and may I ask you for opinion? How do I sound in English? Is my English good? Thank you. So I've been having huge practice exams for 6 months already. It's called live, and well, imagine now somebody going from here to Poland, learning the language that person never heard about. It's like it isn't so popular, and that language is being the hardest, one of the hardest in the world. So imagine just going there and learning it, and yet people are doing this same like they're going to Taiwan to learn Mandarin or anywhere else to learn their languages. Well, I didn't sound like that when I got here. So that was way worse. That was way worse. And sometimes that was like pretty hard to communicate with, and I had to just repeat something a few times for people to understand. But right now, well, thank you for the honest opinion. You can just understand me when I speak here. And the cat. And the cat is also a huge part of the exchange. Don't forget the cat. That would be everything. Thank you so much for your attention. Thank you so much for listening to this presentation.
We have time for a question.
Oh yeah, anybody maybe have a question, any questions about the presentation or about myself? Yeah,
Take that. We don't have a microphone, so you'll just have to shout.
Your English is very good.
thank you.
My question is, are you finding it easy to think in English?
Because I was learning, English for years, yes, that still having some, mostly thinking in Polish, but sometimes I just catch myself, hey, why are you thinking in English, Peter? That's good job. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Your presentation was outstanding with great visuals.
Thank
and
you.
You had great stage presence. So, and I just want to congratulate you on that and thank you. And I was wondering, do you have a favorite basketball team or basketball player in the NBA?
Well, I'm a huge fan of the Space Jam, so that would be Michael Jordan. Yeah, any other questions maybe? Yes,
Go ahead.
What else would you like to do?
that's a good question. Ice fishing.
Ooh.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, it won't be so boring for me. No, I've never been to the US before.
Have your parents been?
No. My dad was jealous. My dad was like really jealous.
Oh, yeah. And did you get to choose what countries you were interested in going to?
I was able to choose the country,
Okay.
but matter of a state was completely out of my reach. I was like, okay, where did they just get me to? No, Wisconsin, California, Texas, and no, Massachusetts, and I got Minnesota, and I'm happy.
Yeah. Why did you choose the United States?
It's pretty simple. It was just my dream to visit the US one day, and if I had a chance, I just did it.
Yeah.
No regrets.
No regret.
No, absolutely.
And do you go to university?
No. I think that no. Yeah. Any other questions, maybe?
We'll thank Peter and then we'll hear from Pat
Yeah.
before we
Thank
wrap.
you so much.
God, you get to deal with him all the time, and it's a pleasure. But this is typical of the exchange students that we have coming in. They're normally very gregarious people. They're very fun to be around. Everyone that we've had so far, except one, spoke very good English. What we need is we need host families. And if you can't do it yourself for a month or two, starting in March would be great. Maybe you have children that would be willing to do it. Have a host here for a month or so. The family he's in right now is going out of the country and they won't be able to take it with them to Peru. So anyway, give it some thought. One of the most enjoyable things that Sandy and I had was to have our Italian guest. Taught him how to fish, taught him how to ice fish, taught him how to play golf. And it was just a lot of fun. So I ask you, please think about it. You can help Rotary out and help the students out.
Yeah, who's the primary contact for that?
Susan's in charge of the program, but you can get a hold of me and.
Yep. You can get a hold of me and I can connect you. Yep.
So it's a very simple thing to do. You would go through a background check. I told you before about Susan and I are the only ones that can be alone, except the host family, because they go through a security check as well.
Yep.
Doesn't cost you anything. It's like having a child. You gotta feed them. Unless they cook for themselves.
Yeah.
You'd be staying with Sandy and I for the month of June because he's going on a trip.
Mhm.
California,
Yeah, California and a bit of Arizona too.
good. Someone asked what else you're gonna do before you leave.
Yeah.
That's part of it. And then he's looking at a third option. But he doesn't have the details.
Oh, yeah.
So thank you very much for the opportunity. I hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you, Pat.